Hi guys, greetings of the day. I Vijay Vardhan welcome you to my YouTube channel for learning a subject called as Fluid Power Engineering for 5th semester and Fluid Power Systems for 7th semester as per VTU syllabus. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, kindly subscribe. Also click on the bell icon to receive the latest lectures as and when it is uploaded in my YouTube channel. Now let's start the session number 11, the classification of positive displacement forms. How do we classify this? The basis of classification of a positive displacement pump are as follows. That is, based on the type of motion of pumping element, we can classify it as reciprocating pumps and the rotary pumps. Again, it is further divided into gear pump, vane pump, and G-rotor pumps. And based on the displacement characteristics, we can divide it into fixed displacement pump and variable displacement pump. Coming to shape of pumping element, we can call it as gear pump, vane pump, and piston pumps. Now, based on the type of the pumping element, we have the reciprocating type and the rotary type. Let us discuss about the reciprocating type, that is called as the piston pumps. Now, let me get the figure of the same. Now, reciprocating pumps are generally a cylinder with a piston operating as a pumping elements, which is shown in the figure. They are available in various sizes and driving mechanism. Reciprocating pumps generate high pressure and hence used for specialized applications. If the reciprocating principle is used in rotary form, then they will develop a very high pressure. Such pumps are known as piston pumps. Now you can see the reciprocating pump, the figure you can see, and this is called a schematic representation, and this is going to be the graphical representation. Let me switch on the pointer so that it can be easy to show you. And this is called as graphical representation of a reciprocating pumps. And the other type, as I mentioned, the rotary pumps. The most commonly used pumps in a hydraulic system are rotary pumps for a low to medium pressure. Although there are various types of rotary pumps which are available, out of which the three important of them are called as the gear pumps, vane pumps, and the screw pumps. Though there are some of the similarity in the three pumps to some degree of performance and application, but they are completely different in their structure and usually serve a quite different functions. A reciprocating pump is represented by a rectangular block and a perpendicular lines, which is as shown in the figure. That is a graphical representation, and the rotary pumps are going to be represented by a circle with the shaded triangles pointing outside to indicate the pump as a source of energy. Now we can see fixed displacement pump as well as the variable displacement pump. Now, based on the volumetric displacement or the displacement characteristics, we call it as a fixed displacement pump as well as variable displacement pump, and we are going to discuss in detail about all these things, no worries about that. And then based on the type of pumping elements, we call it as a gear pumps and vane pumps and the piston pumps. Now let us understand what is called as a gear pumps. Now there are three types of gear pumps based on the meshing of gears. They are as follows: external gear pumps, internal gear pumps, and combination of internal and external gear pumps. Now, normally what is called as a gear pump? A gear pump consists of a two meshing gears individually, either identical in respect, that is dimension, materials, etc. And one of them is going to couple to a driving shaft known as a driving gear and drives the second gear, which is also called as the idle gear. Now let us understand how exactly the external gear pump works. Now, in an you can see the cross section here. The cross section is available now. In external gear pumps, the two gears meshes externally, which is as shown in the figure here. Now, the gear may be either a spur or a helical gear. Either each gear is mounted on a shaft supported on the bearing in the end covers. One of the shaft is coupled to the prime mover, that is the drive motor. Either it could be a left one or right one. In this figure, it is taken as a left one. Now, the two ports are provided to serve as an inlet port and delivery port and are located on the opposite sides of the housing, which you can see in the figure. For the best performance, the port should be large straight and unobstructed as possible. Now, how does it work? Let us understand the working of external gear pump. As the gears unmesh, a partial vacuum is created at the inlet, drawing oil into the chamber formed between the teeth, and the gap between the teeth carry the fluid around the outside of the gears, where it is forced out as the teeth mesh again at the outlet of the oil, and left in the chamber is going to be developed into a high pressure. Now the figure shows the working of the principle of a gear pump over here. Now the pumping action takes place very rapidly, and the speed of the gear pump may be as high as 2700 rpm, and although the speeds usually ranges from 750 rpm to 1750 rpm. And how this pressure is going to be created? A pump creates a flow and a pressure is going to be created by a resistance to flow. That is, the pressure results whenever the flow is restricted. As the fluid is drawn into the pumping chamber, though the inlet port, due to partial vacuum, is created, and at inlet, and this oil is forced into the reduced space resisting the flow in the upstream side causes the pressure to build up. Then we shall understand the theoretical volumetric displacement of an external gear pump, for which you can see the figure. Now the volumetric discharge displacement, it is given by the formula Vd is equal to pi by 4 d naught square minus di square into W, usually in terms of meter cube per revolution, which is already discussed. Now, how this is going to be there, let us understand the parameters, where d naught, d and di is the outside and inside diameter of the ear teeth respectively, and w is the width of the tooth, which is as shown in the figure you can observe. Now, the physical dimension of the gear elements, the theoretical volumetric displacement, fixed and cannot be varied, because these things cannot be varied, hence it is a fixed displacement. Thus, the theoretical discharge QTH is going to be given in the formula the volumetric displacement into the speed of the rotor divided by 60 to convert into a RPS, that is meter cube per second. Now you can say Vd, we already got the formula, that is pi by 4 d naught square minus di square into the width, that is what the formula which is mentioned over here. Now the ideal discharge and the speed characteristics is of the pump is as shown in this figure. Now you can see as the speed increases, the discharge also increases. Because as the speed decreases, discharge also decreases, because everything, the geometrical relationship is already fixed. We cannot change it. Now the Q actual is nothing but the actual discharge of the pump, uh, which is less than the theoretical discharge, which is nothing but QTH, due to the leakage from the high pressure side to the low pressure side. Then coming to the elements of an external gear pump, which is responsible for volumetric displacement, that is Vd, that is nothing but the volume displacement of the pump, and speed of the gear, and theoretical flow rate, which is given by this formula, and which is with respect to the formula, which can be further simplified like this. And for a given pump, since the outer diameter, inner diameter of the gear teeth and the width are constant, hence QTH will be K into N, where the value of K will be equal to pi by 4 d naught square minus di square into W, where the variable speed is N. As the speed increases, the discharge increases. As the speed decreases, the discharge decreases. That is what we have understood in the previous slide, that is a linear displacement. Then what is called as volumetric efficiency? The volumetric efficiency is defined as the ratio of actual discharge to the theoretical discharge, and mathematically this is what the formula Q actual by Q theoretical into 100. Now Q actual will be less than the Q theoretical due to internal leakage, which is as explained just above. Now this is the following figure shows the theoretical and actual discharge, the pressure characteristics for a given pump. Now you can see this is the ideal discharge and this is going to be the actual discharge. I can call this as QTH, and this is called as actual discharge because of the leakage or the flow back which is going to happen in the pumps in reality. Then we have to concentrate one more topic that is called as pump slippage. What is called as pump slippage? A pump slippage is a difference between the theoretical discharge and the actual discharge, which is denoted by S, and that is expressed as QTH minus Q actual, and is expressed in percentage also. When it is expressed in percentage, it should be QTH minus Q actual by QTH into 100. And coming to what are the advantages of gear pumps, the following are the advantages. It is simple in design, compact and occupy little space for mounting, suitable for rugged surfaces and have a longer life, and it is most economical, fewer moving parts and noiseless operations, and some gear pumps are reversible also. Then coming to what are the differences between the reciprocating and rotary compressor, let us understand the differences by different factors. Now you can see there we have listed of 5 different factors for reciprocating and rotary pumps. By the construction wise, reciprocating is a complicated whereas rotary is simple. Coming to power to weight ratio, yes, reciprocating will be having a higher power to weight ratio when compared to the rotary pumps. Then coming to coupling to the prime mover, we can directly couple it, but we cannot directly couple the rotary pumps. Then coming to discharge, it is pulsating or discharge, and whereas in case of rotary pumps, it is going to be a continuous, and that is nothing but pulsation. That is, whatever the pumping is going to take place, it will be continuous here, and whereas in case of reciprocating, it is discontinuous. Coming to the graphical representations, this is how we are going to represent it graphically. So by this, I would like to end the session, and thanks for your patience listening to the session. And if you have any sort of doubts, feel free to use the comment section for the further discussion. I will answer all your questions related to the topics covered in this session. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Have a great day. Signing off, Vijay Tavardhan.